So this guy, Prince Henry the Navigator, he set in motion the need to explore and expand early European nations.
Expansion.
Then there was this guy, Columbus, who thought that he'd go over and get some spices.
Spices.
But instead he discovered all of America, which was named after Amerigo's Vespucci, who told everybody it's not spices over there.
Not spices.
Fast forward about 200 years later, these cultists, I mean pilgrims, wanted to have religious freedom, so they asked this king, James Charles Stuart, if they could go to Holland, and he was like,
May we go
Go
to
to
Holland?
Holland.
Please go. Y'all are freaking weird.
so they went to the Netherlands, where they were being separate, because, you know, they were separatists. Then they were like, crap, this place sucks too. But nobody ever really said anything to them. They just kind of did their own thing, and the pilgrims were like,
How are you doing today, sir?
Wow, so rude.
So anyway, they got on this boat. Then they got off. Then they got on another boat. Because it kept leaking, it was named the Speedbell. They lost 18 people because they couldn't fit everyone into the second boat, and not because they had drowned. So the second boat was called the Mayflower. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's pretty well known. Then they took their time going across the Atlantic, because they like oceans. Psych, they hated the ocean. Like, a lot of people died on it. Psych, again, only 2 people died, and the guy named Oceanus was born at sea. Then, once they got there, they got at the wrong place, so they decided to stay. Psych, again, they left to go move toward the Hudson River, but they couldn't find land, so they went back and stayed for a while, got cold and hungry, committed cannibalism. And then they got fed by Tisquantum, because he was everywhere, and because he was nice, and they took over America and started settling, bringing new diseases and stuff. Then, as if that wasn't enough, they started shooting the locals for land. Then they started planting tobacco, and that's when they really started to get bad. Fast forward again, and we have these colonies that really want freedom from this guy named George III, because he wanted them to pay money for a war that happened because he helped them out, and he wanted some of the money back he gave them. They were like,
Free us. No way, Jose.
and declared independence after a while because George wouldn't play nice. Mostly because we basically burnt $2 million in leaf juice. Then there was a shot so loud that it caused a war, and then it got cold in Valley Forge.
It's cold. Yeah.
George Washington and Lafayette trained up some troops to fight the dummy redcoats. Then they were at Yorktown, and they played Yankee Doodle when Cornwallis lost the battle.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, some of the 142 slaves aboard the slave ship Zong. The colonies then decided to become one and work together to maintain peace and prosperity, and they're in a civil war. The war consisted of the pro-slavery South fighting against the anti-slavery North. But not only because of the slavery, there are also other issues such as the southern states wanting to govern themselves without the North telling them not to do slavery. The first battle of the Civil War consisted of the Battle of Bull Run. The Confederates won the battle, and after that, the war started to act like a coat hanger on Laundry Day. That was up until the Battle of Gettysburg, a bloody battle that resulted in a Union victory. Once they won, the Union was like, but they were also like, because a lot of peeps died. Then Lincoln was like,
7 years ago, we kicked some. We about to take that ass again.
yeah! Then they did at the Battle of Palmito Ranch, and Ulysses S. Grant was like,
Yeah.
Then they signed that thing that made everyone not do slavery, and the South was back. Then Booth shot Lincoln. Oh no, he's dead.
Four score. We